What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, August 14th, day number 30 inside the Big Brother house. Did we get conned into watching the episode last night? Also, are the house guests just digging their hole deeper and deeper? And did you guys know that Dr. Will and Big D basically played the same game? Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Let's talk about last night's kind of glorified clip episode. We had Cody, Jag, and Taylor, former winners of Big Brother, all talking about what's been happening this season. And it was just kind of a glorified clip episode. Lots of different things going on, but I did like the twist of them talking about things and kind of their take on different events and different moves that are happening inside the game, their thoughts on different house guests and how they're playing. I think that overall it's kind of interesting. This wasn't really for us, right? This wasn't for, the hardcore fans who have been watching every episode and been keeping up with the season. This was more for the casuals, get people caught up with everything that's been happening in the game. There's also no coincidence that this comes right after the end of the Olympics to get people who have been watching that and not been paying attention to Big Brother, kind of get them to come on over. And we were really kind of watching this mainly for information on the twist, and that's where we kind of got conned. We didn't get a lot of information. We basically just got the name of it, and that it will be part of some America vote. We had Ainsley talking about how there was over 5 million votes for America's veto, so the fans must love getting involved with the game. Let's do another one. If I had to guess, the AI instigator, if I had to guess, it would probably be something that's similar to a saboteur, some kind of secret tasks that the house guest who wins the vote will have to do. Maybe they'll get some kind of power from that. BBUK is famous for doing their secret tasks for their house guests. BB Can had done it a lot. Even the US has had their fair share of house guests that have had to do kind of weird things. I remember Dan had to hug someone for a very awkward amount of time. I forget, was it Jesse? Maybe it was Chef Joe. Somebody. He had to hug somebody for a really long time, and there's that shot of him kind of like looking over the shoulder to the camera. Will it be interesting? I don't know. If there going to be some kind of power to it, I don't know how it will all play out. But what I do know is there's really only two people that not only I think have a shot to win the vote, but also should win the vote. And that's Tucker and Angela. I think they are going to be the front runners for this. And they're also the only two that actually should be the ones really to get this title of AI instigator. They're the only two that I think would do it justice. Overall, though, I do kind of think this type of daily or weekly show where you're getting former house guests, maybe online commentators, to talk about things that are going on inside the house. Do you guys remember back in the day when the feeds would go down, instead of the animals, the adopt-a pets, they would do these interviews with Jeff? And they were really bad. They were just kind of like those pre-season house guest interviews in the diary room. And we would just see them on repeat over and over and over again. Imagine instead of that, it's live people coming on, talking to us, saying, hey, you guys might have missed this. Here's a clip from earlier in the day when, Tucker and Angela were forming a final two, and throw it to the clip. I think it could be really interesting. You could even do kind of that panel type show where you have former house guests, or like I said, online commentators kind of talking about things that are going on inside the game. And I think it could be really interesting. It could be good for casual fans who normally don't watch all of the feeds. It's kind of something similar to what I do here on the channel. I just think overall it could be something that could be really healthy, almost like the NFL Red Zone for the live feeds. Just a way for people to kind of keep up with everything that's going on, especially if they're not able to see it. And I think Big Brother could do a lot more with that format. But what do you guys think? Was it just a big waste of time? Yes. Would you like to see like an actual, almost like an ESPN Sports Center for Big Brother with former house guests, maybe other people involved in that too? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Other than that, though, let's jump into what happened on the live feeds yesterday. A little recap for you. Well, it's a recap after the recap of the season. Don't think about it too much. Angela won HOH this week, but it really was just a safety competition. Quinn used his power. Everybody kind of knows about it. He put up Tucker, MJ, and Cedric as his original nominees, all through the Angela AI. His target was Tucker, who wins Power of Veto, takes himself down, and Rubina goes up as the replacement nominee. How's everything breaking down right now? Well, MJ was out there doing her thing, trying to gain favor with some of the house guests throughout the day, maybe get a vote or two here and there. But I don't think it's going to matter for her. Mackenzie will be the top target should she stay on the block this week. But if she ends up winning the AI, if she could win that AI arena, it could be really close between Rubina and Cedric. We had some interesting conversations throughout the day that also added to this potential intrigue of a matchup between Rubina and Cedric on eviction night. Again, this really relies on MJ winning AI. If that happens, much easier week for everybody. Everybody just votes out MJ and she's gone. Rubina and Cedric, though, people are going to have to start showing their cards. And some of the votes are starting to line up here and there. We had an interesting convo with Joe and Leah about kind of working together, kind of keeping an eye out for each other. Leah especially has been feeling less confident with Quinn and kind of putting his name out there kind of bad. Same thing with Joe. He's also not thinking too highly of Quinn these days either. They both kind of like that everyone is focused right now on Tucker. And while they're doing that, they can focus maybe kind of long term and see where things are going with that. And Leah also mentioned, she's like, hey, I'm okay voting MJ out over Rubina, right? Like, I'm totally cool with that. If that's the way we're going. I don't trust her that much anyway. We also had a really good convo with Leah and Takor and Chemo. And this was kind of funny where she goes over a lot of the same stuff about, you know, being totally cool with MJ going over Rubina. But what I found later on in the convo was great. She starts talking about how, you know, winning comps isn't everything, right? Like, you don't need to win comps to make it far in the game. And she brings up how Dr. Will, well, he won twice. No, I mean, yes, technically, he really is the reason Bookie won All-Stars, but nonetheless, he didn't rely on comps. That is true, Leah. And also, Derrick F. She says he made it to final two as well. Although, if there were ever two house guests that shouldn't be named in the same sentence, it's Dr. Will and Derrick F. Listen, Derrick, you're a great guy, right? I've seen you, you know, post show saying some good stuff here and there. You on the show pretty much slept the entire way to the final two, and that was your game. Leah apparently thinks, you know what, you did a great job though. It's just as good as Dr. Will, I guess. Just fascinating from Leah. Another kind of fun thing that happened earlier in the day was Tucker had like a little mini meltdown. So this all kind of started with Rubina having this headache. And he was trying to kind of help her out. He was giving her some massages. He wanted to do like a neck pull with a towel and kind of like wrap it around her neck and pull to kind of like relieve pressure. And BB obviously told him to stop that, right? We don't want Rubina paralyzed from a neck injury because Tucker's over here yanking on her neck with a towel. Cam was trying to say, no, it's cool. Like, you know, it's all good. And we didn't see all of it, but what I did see later was Chelsea having a great retell of the whole ordeal about how Tucker was going off, about how they treat him like kids. They don't let him do things. We can't do piggyback rides. We can't do neck massages. I should have just kept myself on the block and got out of here. He was telling production to F off and do this and that. And then Brooklyn said, the only thing I heard was, hey, Tucker, can you come to the diary room? They were just like, hey, buddy, listen. Just chill out, right? So that's kind of funny, and I hope we actually see some of that on an episode. I think that would be a funny little side segment that they would have. Speaking of Tucker and Joseph, who we were talking about earlier, they had a fun little chat too. Tucker actually kind of filled Joseph in on Angela coming and trying to beg to join up with him in an alliance. And they mentioned about how they kind of want to continue to work together. They've had a bit of a final two going for a bit, right? But Joseph's been very collective strong. He's always been kind of the lead flag bearer of the collective, but he's starting to get more and more worried about Chelsea and Brooklyn and their kind of control over the collective. They're being so tight together. I don't know if Joseph sees much about how close Chelsea is with Cam and Cedric, or if he's worried about that as much, but he definitely is worried about Chelsea and Brooklyn. And I think he's actually really starting to like the idea of working with Tucker. At the very least, he's starting to like Tucker more. After Tucker left the conversation, Joseph was just saying like, man, I really like that guy. I really like that guy. So whether that's enough for him to full on make that flip and start working with Tucker, Rubina, and that side of the house, or he's just kind of playing both sides, that's to remain to be seen. But later in the night, he does mention while alone, like, that he's not trusting Quinn anymore. And he thinks maybe it could be time to flip on the triple C of Cedric, Cam, and Chelsea, along with Brooklyn, and trying to move against the collective. So we'll see how that all plays out. Just keep it in mind. I trust Joseph to do this way more than I trust Takor and Chemo, and we'll get to them in just a bit here, because Chemo had a chat with Brooklyn. Tucker had not been trusting Brooklyn very much and been letting Takor and Chemo know about this a lot, and he kind of had that chat with her to just kind of be like, hey, maybe you should try and build that back up a little bit. He also found out that Chelsea now knows about the 5 Points Alliance, which is Chemo, Takor, Tucker, Rubina, and Brooklyn. And Brooklyn almost immediately went and told 5 Points about this. Later, Brooklyn actually talked to Chelsea about where Takor and Chemo's loyalties kind of lie. And they both think that they're still sticking with the collective, but they're on the radar, right? Like, they know like some things are up, but it's going to start getting fishy too, right? With the idea that they're not letting anybody know about 5 Points. Only Brooklyn was the one to kind of inform that about that. Plus, now with all this talk of splitting off, it's going to start getting very messy for the two of them. If they're not careful here, they might have taken what was probably the best spot in the game. We were talking about it. They were in such a good place, and now they might end up towards the actual bottom where they think they are. We then ended up getting Quinn and Chemo having a conversation. Now, I don't know if Quinn was tipped off about this. I don't know if this was Chelsea talking to him about it. Maybe Brooklyn was talking to him about it. Quinn goes and he talks to Chemo and he says, I actually wanted to talk to you and Takor and kind of ask some strategy questions. Like, are Tucker and Rubina still trying to do the underdog just minus me? Right? Are they still doing that? But just, let's take Quinn out of the situation. And Chemo's like, no, that's not happening at all. And Quinn's like, that's weird, because they should be, right? Like, logically, you would think they would. And Chemo goes into talking about, burying the hatchet with Tucker, and maybe they could still work together. Maybe you could fake like a public war and kind of keep things going. And Quinn's just like, we tried that before, right? And I'm just not sure. Rubina would be the one to have to set that up at the very least. It's one of those things where if Quinn's thicker than we think he is, then he might not think anything of this conversation. But how can you not come away from that convo with Chemo after you ask him, like, hey, are they still trying to do the thing? How could you not come away thinking, yes, of course they're doing that thing? That was him testing Chemo, I think. I think Quinn already kind of knew the answer to that, but was asking Chemo anyway. And I don't think he gave him a good answer. The real honest good thing that Chemo could have done there was be like, yeah, they're talking about it, but you know what? I keep always trying to say like how much, you know, that I think we can actually trust you, and kind of doing the same thing where I'm trying to get you guys to kind of work together. If he was honest like that, I think it would end up good. But I feel like it's just going to end up with Chemo and Takor kind of hanging themselves with all this dirty information that they have, that they're sharing just enough of to get in trouble, but not enough of to actually get numbers on their side and actually get people to join up with them. We did end up getting Chemo and Takor kind of chatting. Again, they kind of still think they're on the bottom, which now they kind of are on the bottom, as they've kind of made it with themselves. They realize that Quinn probably is on them. If he doesn't already know about 5 points, and was told about it through Penta with Brooklyn and Chelsea, he's gonna know about it sooner or later, and they're gonna look really sus that they're not telling people about it. They want to actually tell Tucker and Rubina everything, right? Chemo especially, he's like, listen, I kind of want to just blow it all up, right? Like, why don't we just tell them? He's like, look, I won't do it. If you tell me, Takor, you tell me not to do it, and I won't do it. Takor, though, is worried because Leah, Tucker, MJ, Angela, like if they go this route, that's who's making jewelry with them. And they don't know if they like that. They also don't know if when they flip, they can pull Brooklyn and Chelsea over, and they really want to work with them still. They know that they need to take a shot at Cam and Cedric, but I doubt that they're going to do it this week. And they also think maybe it's too early as well. But at this point, right, like I feel like they kind of need to just pick a side. They've already kind of dug a hole and done enough where if any of this info comes out about the stuff they were doing trying to work with Tucker and Rubina, which I think will come out sooner or later, it already has with Brooklyn, and they're not owning up to it. I feel like it is actually going to make them the full-on bottom. And not only is, I think it already has. I think at this point, everyone in the collective would probably go for Chemo and Takor over even someone like Joseph yet. And that even includes people like Brooklyn and Chelsea. I think at this point, even though they have a pretty good relationship with them, the fact that they're not being completely open and honest would end up having them choose the other side over them for anything else. Now, it is interesting, though, because then we did get Takor going to talk with Quinn. She once again was trying to get him on board with working with Tucker, and it's almost like they don't understand that it's not going to work. It's not going to work. He says, Quinn's like, listen, we've been over this, right? Like, I don't see any point for me, right? I only see it ending badly. It ends with me going home. He's starting to trust Cedric, he says, right? I feel like we can use that way more than we can trust Tucker, because he doesn't trust me at all. Cedric can kind of work with us. And they also talk about how if they flip it, Joseph and Brooklyn probably go with the collective side of things. Plus, the numbers they would have on that side don't all get along. Leah and Tucker hate each other, right? So Tucker wins HOH. He's probably putting Quinn and Leah up on the block together, which he is. It's something he's actually said. So it just doesn't make any sense for Quinn. They do kind of talk about like Joseph is kind of funny because he thinks he's, running everything and kind of calling shots, but he's really on the bottom. And Quinn's kind of saying like, yeah, we probably could pull Joseph over, if I just have a conversation with him and be like, listen, this is what's really going on. You're on the bottom. Come with us. But at some point, they're going to have to expose the Penta, but they don't know if that's the right time to do it now. And they know that they need to take a shot at Cam and Cedric. And if they do that, they can probably get Brooklyn and Chelsea to come on over because they'll have nowhere else to go. But then once the core leaves, Quinn, he's like, yeah, that's a no, right? Like he even takes a little bit of time to consider it. He's like, how many times in the history of Big Brother have people kind of, squashed their beef and it actually worked? And he's like, has there been any times in the past? And he does actually kind of go through a few of them. And just in the end, he's like, no, the answer is no. It's just not good for me. Tucker's too good at competitions. He's like, but if Tucker wins HOH, sure, I'm down. Of course I want to work with you. I don't know. It's just it's a real mess in there. I think Takor and Chemo just keep digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole because again, they need to just pick a lane and go with it at this point. They've dropped too many hints that now anything that ends up happening, if they go and they turn, well, they've dug their self so deep that now the other side's going to be super mad at them for turning. If we go and we look at our allegiance map, they really were in a good spot. They were in with the collective, and I think there would have been plenty of numbers for them inside the collective to be like, hey, we're good. They could have grabbed Joseph and Quinn, eventually Brooklyn and Chelsea, go after Cam and Cedric. I don't know if Chelsea would have gone after Cam and Cedric herself, but if they got them up on the block, they could have done that, right? They could technically even also use Tucker still to take those shots for them without, trying to set up this whole other side. They had Rubina on their side. They were in good tight with Brooklyn. But now, because of this like flip-floppy, should we, shouldn't we kind of stuff that they've been doing, and even pulling people over, right? Like trusting in Brooklyn enough to have her a part of 5 points, but then Brooklyn's going and telling everything to the other side, and they're not telling the other side. They now do seem very sus and very untrustworthy. And it's going to get them in a lot of trouble here eventually when they have to, show their cards. Now, as far as the vote goes, MJ is gone, right? If MJ is on the block, if she doesn't win AI Arena, she's done. I think she's done for against Cedric, and I think she's done for against Rubina. The votes are just not there for MJ. If it ends up being Rubina versus Cedric, let's kind of look at the numbers here, right? You've got Quinn, who apparently has a vote. He's going to probably vote to keep Cedric. He just doesn't see working with Tucker as being the right option for him. He trusts Cedric too much right now. Cedric could have gone against him, but decided not to go with Tucker, decided to go with Quinn instead. He really kind of trusts in that, and he believes in working with Cedric at the very least. Chelsea, she's going to vote to keep Cedric as well. So that's 2 on Cedric's side. I think Brooklyn, she is very tight with the Pentagon. She keeps saying with Chelsea, like, let's stick with the Pentagon strong. Then we'll stick with the 8 kind of around that as well. So that's 3 votes for Cedric. Cam as well. Cam is super tight with Cedric. That is 4. You then have Joseph, who now does potentially maybe get seen as a potential flip vote here, right? He could be someone who might say, yeah, you know what? It's time to flip. And we'll see how that develops over the next day with Tucker. That's kind of one I'm keeping an eye on. I think right now, though, if I had to call it, I think Joseph keeps it as the status quo, gets rid of Rubina over Cedric. That way, Tucker is more forced to stick with him. So that's 5 to keep Cedric. Over on the other side, you're going to have Rubina up on the block. Angela doesn't get a vote, but you'll have Tucker, MJ, Leah. That's potentially 3 to keep Rubina over Cedric. You would need Chemo and T-Core. Chemo and T-Core, that would make it a 5-5 split, and you would have Rubina and Cedric go into a tie. Angela breaks the tie. She would choose to keep Rubina and evict Cedric. Cedric would go home. Again, how things could change there. Chemo and T-Core, they get cold feet. They go back and they join up with Cedric. Joseph, maybe he flips on over and goes over with that side, and it ends up being just a 6-4 vote to keep Cedric, which would be pretty crazy as well. I think if it wasn't Cedric on the block, if it happened to be Cam that was on the block, if I was Quinn, I would let Cam go, and I'd let Chemo and Takor hang themselves by splitting this vote. If I knew this was a situation, because with Cedric, it doesn't really make sense for Quinn to let it happen and just let it blow up. If it happens and he can't stop it, it happens, right? Maybe even you could pull Leah over and try and explain to her how, Chemo and Takor are trying to flip everything, and let's get them to fail this flip. And they'll think that they're flipping on everything, and then everybody will go after Chemo, T-Core, Tucker, and Angela the next week instead of going after Leah and MJ if this is the case to happen, right? I think there's potential that you could pull them on over. I think MJ would also be more likely to vote along with Brooklyn and Chelsea than she would be to vote along with Tucker, Angela, and Rubina. So there could be even potential there where they're not getting enough numbers. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all kind of develops. But again, a lot of those conversations aren't really being had that much just because of the nature of the AI arena. Nobody really wants to commit to these conversations in the event that, you know, someone isn't even an option and you said that you were going to vote them out. So it could be interesting, especially if it ends up being Rubina versus Cedric. There's a lot of kind of different ways the vote could go. But at the very best, I think it would be a split vote. But I feel it in my gut. Chemo and T-Core, they're gonna talk a big game. They're gonna say we're gonna flip it, we're gonna flip it, we're gonna flip it, and then the very last second they end up not flipping it, and they stick with the collective and they go with the numbers and the rest of the house, and it ends up being just like one vote to keep Rubina from Tucker, and that's about it. But we'll see. We have a whole day until the actual eviction, so we'll see how things develop from here. What do you guys think about everything going on inside the house? What do you think of the vote? Where do you think things will end up landing, especially if it ends up being Rubina versus Cedric? Who would you like to see go this week? Would you rather just see MJ go, or would you rather see it be Rubina or Cedric who ends up leaving this week? Let me know in those comments down below. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my socials in the description, pinned comment down below. Things like my Twitch and Kick. It's been a little quiet on there. Big Brother takes over a lot of the time. You can also check out the Twitter and the Discord. Great place to keep up with everything going on, especially if you miss any notifications from YouTube. You can see when I upload there. Plus, also just a great place to chat, especially with other Big Brother fans or just other things that you love in general. You can find a place to chat about that on the Discord. Thank you guys all again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Guys, where'd I go? Wait, okay. Ready? I'll keep my back. Ready? Close your eyes again.
All right.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Open your eyes. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Open them.
Whoa. Where'd he go?
You feel me?
No, I don't even see you, let alone feel you.
I'm a ghost. Christmas Day.
Where is he? Ah! I'm scared. Ah! Oh no. Young Sadie, fuck him. He's gone. Young Sadie. He's dead, America. Ah! That was crazy. Oh my God. Yo, from my vantage point, I literally could not see you, bro. That was crazy. Oh my God, dude, you really are magic.
You feel me?
I do feel you.
Jeez.